So it may surprise some of you to know this, but the MCAT is literally designed for you to fail. And I'm talking about if you fit into a certain bucket, right? There are many, many people every year who take the MCAT who do perfectly fine. But there are some people who, despite them trying multiple times, despite them trying to study, they just cannot seem to pass the MCAT. And there's a specific reason why. It's because it was literally designed for those specific type of people to not pass and never be able to pass. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the types of people who struggle on the MCAT, and if you happen to struggle on the MCAT, what you can do to get better and hopefully get accepted into medical school. So to start off, I want to say that the MCAT is a really hard exam. So if you're studying for it or if you're taking it, don't feel alone, like this is way too tough. I'm the only one who's struggling with it. Trust me, there are many, many other people who are in the same boat as you. Being someone who has gotten into medical school and is moving through rotations, the MCAT was really an exam of, how should I say, it was really an exam of endurance and an exam to weed people out. The first type of person who I would say specifically the MCAT tends to weed out is people who cannot think under stress. Now, if you're a student, future med student, and you're thinking, oh, that makes sense, because you wouldn't want a doctor or a surgeon who, if the patient starts losing blood and everything gets stressful, they start freaking out and they don't know what to do. You want someone who will literally, under stress, thinks clearly, thinks linearly, and who can get stuff done. So when you're 5 hours into the MCAT and you're halfway through your PS section and you're like, okay, I have to push through this, I'm stressed, but I can still get this done, you are the type of person who medical school, who the AAMC, who the MCAT wants to get into their program. The second type of person who the MCAT is literally designed for them to fail is people who can't study for a long period of time. This makes sense. The MCAT, most people have to study for multiple months. If you go on Reddit and then you see some people asking, oh, how can I pass the MCAT in 2 weeks? Just know it's pretty much, it's already cooked. It's an exam where you need to take time every day, little by little, practice, get better, and eventually do really well on it. So if you can't study for multiple periods of time, multiple hours, it's not designed for you. And to be honest, medical school isn't designed for that type of person, because you really have to stay locked in for a very long period of time. The last person, or the last type of people, are people who cannot adapt to new settings. So as of the making of this video, the MCAT is set up into 4 sections. The first is CP, or Chem Phys. The second is CARS. The third is BB, or Biology and Biochem. And the last is PS, which is Psychology and Sociology. If you realize, those 4 subjects are pretty much completely different from each other. And I'll make another video if you don't know what CARS is. It's a story of its own. If you know, you know. But when you go from one section to another, there's no predictability. Even when you go from one question to another, or one passage to another in your sections, it's all usually on different topics. You have to jump around and adapt to different questions, different settings, different ideas very, very quickly, within a minute and a half per question, sorry. It's a test where you have to be able to go to different scenarios and adapt to it really quickly. And it makes sense, because think about it. If you're a doctor and you're working on a patient, and let's just say a patient codes, and unfortunately that patient dies, you could literally, in medicine, go from having a patient and talking to their family that they've passed away, and then in the next room literally have tell a patient and their family that they're gonna get better and they're gonna get released tomorrow and discharged tomorrow. That is a crazy adaptation, going from telling the family about death to telling the family good news, or vice versa. You have to be able to adapt completely. And I'll make a whole bunch of different videos on adaptation and medicine and just in interpersonal skills, and that's a whole topic for itself. I can talk for hours about that. But when it comes to adapting to your surroundings and adapting to questions, it is fundamental that you can go from thinking about one thing to the next in less than 30 seconds. It's going to be that way on the MCAT, and it's going to be that way in medical school and in your future career. So, the MCAT is a hard exam, and for many, many people, it's designed for them to fail, but in a good way, because we only want the best and brightest in medicine. We can all agree that not everyone who wants to go into medicine should go into medicine, and the MCAT is essentially a weed out test to make sure that we can care for people and give the best people who society has to care for their loved ones. Because, of course, everyone wants the smartest, the brightest, and the best taking care of their grandma or son or daughter, whoever it is. It's a bit of tough love that the AAMC gives for this exam. And I truly think that many, many people, including you, if you're watching this video and if you've made it this far, you can pass the MCAT. It's gonna take a little bit of hard work. I can make some videos on different tips and tricks on how to pass it and what works for me. Or not how to pass it, but how to do really well on it. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Also send a comment below so we can help out the algorithm, and I also like interacting with you guys. So see you guys in the next video.